So if those mission, vision, values don't actually make their way into the micro behaviors of everyone in the organization, then you've created a counterfeit culture. And so it's kind of, when I went to New York, you go to certain streets and certain streets, they have all the knockoffs, right? You can get the knockoff Louis Vuitton, you can get the knockoff Nikes. I'd be lying if I said I didn't buy some knockoff stuff there, right? It's fun, but we know it's not the real thing, right? And so what these counterfeit cultures do is they try to convince you it's the real thing because they've thought about it, they've put some words down on paper, they've said it out loud a number of times, but then there's this disconnect between the actual behavior of the people they're leading and all of this fancy material they created. So what they ended up doing, even though they didn't mean to, is they created a counterfeit culture because there was a misalignment between all those fancy words and the behavior of the people that they wanted to actually follow those words. You think about values for a second, and we think that we can just decide our values. Like, oh, I'm just going to list them out on a piece of paper, and now those are our values. And it's like, no, doesn't quite work that way. Yeah, start by putting them on a piece of paper. Now you've got to live them. You've got to embody them. You've got to reinforce them at every step, at every layer, at every level of the organization. You have to actually become those values. And now you're doing the hard work of creating culture. But when you
Yeah.
just come up with the values, you've done almost nothing. But it allows us to get a quick check mark mentally, right? As an executive, you think, okay, I've taken that off my list. I now have the culture thing figured out because I figured out mission, vision, values, when really the work of culture is every day, every conversation, every interaction, every meeting, every single thing that every person does collectively becomes the culture. So if you want to do the hard work of moving away from a counterfeit culture to a real culture, it's going to take so much more time and energy, but it's so much more worth it at the same time.
I love that. That's really good. Now, I've been in offices and I've seen the big sign that says, "We're one big family," and the employees are thinking, "Yeah, a dysfunctional family that needs a little therapy."
Maybe. That's right.
Once you strip away the counterfeit and really understand what's true, that's where your science comes in. And you've distilled decades of research, I think, into 6 measurable dimensions: burnout, psychological safety, conflict, engagement, alignment, and execution risk.